Looks like government officials down under, unlike their Canadian counterparts, have once again found common sense, while the Canadians are still feverishly trying to remember where they misplaced it. So, what gives with a sudden optimism? Well, news broke on Wednesday of the ATAGI's new, updated 2023 COVID guidelines. For those of you who don't know it, ATAGI stands for the Australian Government's COVID Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, which has become a household word in Australia, one which I'm sure many Australians precede with more colorful ones, as well one they wish they could erase from their memories. The ATAGI did a complete 180, not only on the boosters, but COVID injections in general. Now, when it comes to policy, it's out with the old, shots all around, to in March 2023, ATAGI only recommends COVID shots for two groups, people age 65 plus and people 18 and over who are at risk. And just in case any of those Australians who are still dearly clinging on to their injections and masks had any doubts on where ATAGI stood, the new guidelines recommend against COVID shots for healthy kids under 18 or even for at-risk kids under 5, the opposite of what is being recommended by the experts such as the FDA in the US. But that wasn't the best part. How so? Well, science deniers, coast to coast, will be thrilled to know that in a section of the ATAGI's latest guidelines, they actually use the word risks in the section headline and acknowledged myocarditis and pericarditis. Not only that, but based on a cursory reading of the new and improved guidelines, the words very rare or any other inference suggesting it's almost impossible to be injured by the shots was also noticeably absent. Progress, folks. Actually, you have to really drill down into the linked 13-page provided information sheet to find the usual reassuring Fauci-esque language, and even there, ATAGI only says that the benefit outweighs the rare risk, not very rare. Of course, they don't quantify the risk, which a well-respected Canadian study recently pegged at 1 in 5,000. Now, when it comes to risks, before we suspended informed consent in the last 2 years, it used to be that it was the person who was going to be taking on the risk that got to decide whether a particular risk justified the benefits received, rather than the government or one of the paid experts who was administering the risk. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I, for one, kind of like to roll my own dice. This news in no way can be dismissed. It's huge and a sea change for the Australian government. Of course, like governments everywhere, or like our Prime Minister, too full of themselves to admit they may have got it wrong, they will inevitably gaslight everyone they can by proclaiming they always acknowledge the risk of myocarditis, stupid. Weren't you paying attention? Of course they did. That must be why they said over and over again, the safest vaccine ever made in human history. Now that is quantifying the risk for you. Of course, for many of you, I know this story is basically 2 years too late. But take the win, folks. The fact that the Australian government has retreated from almost all recommendations and is now recommending against injecting healthy kids is, as they would say in Australia, fair dinkum and great news. Have you noticed, though, as time goes on, all these stories that keep coming out repeatedly don't paint the injections in a good light? I mean, think about it. When was the last time you read a story about some unforeseen upside as a result of the injections? I mean, have you ever seen a headline like, "Study shows injections cure erectile dysfunction," or "Injections sharpen mental clarity," or athletes cite injections for improved performance. Of course, now, if I missed one of these good news stories, by all means let me know, given the safe and effective isn't quite living up to what it was supposed to be. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can also follow me on my Rumble and my Locals account. It's always safe and effective to leave your comments, and please check out some of my past videos, and I will see you next time.